Claiming the internet is fantastic because it's really about adding diversity of voices, looking at issues that are part of our global culture climate, but also making it real at a personal level and hybridizing it. Looking at it from a climate perspective, even the choices of do we buy something maybe that's locally produced can start to shift what can be accomplished in terms of creating a more resilient environment and community. I'm Sylvie Grace Borda. I'm an artist based in Vancouver, Canada. I work in media, particularly in supporting climate resilience and climate justice through the visual arts. My big spark is how can you take some really interesting global challenges or local challenges and really readdress them through not only the visual arts, but through a digital means. My work is very expansive, but the general themes are looking at how technology can be incorporated in a way to redefine how communities can identify themselves, how they can benefit. So there's always a moment where you want to enable a community to have a voice or diverse representation. And I was very fortunate to be part of a Creative Climate Commission sponsored through the British Council as well as COP26. And the goal behind the project was how could digital content enable communities to also undertake ways to extend their own climate resilience. The project happened in Ethiopia for the Oromo peoples. This group are agropastoralists. They're both going to have farm animals and they're also going to have crops that they maintain. I asked the community first, how could I help? And really their first need was to have reforestation of their own local area. It came forward that it was this cluster of different trees that grown collectively together would bring the community together and create this resilience. And we decided what would be really interesting would be to plant them in a particular design. So one design is the Ethiopian black lion, which is native to this area, and it's also a species that's under threat. And the second one would be a tree circle. What makes these projects special is that they've been designed not only to show these symbols that are very specific to the community, and they're co-authored in this way, but they're also showing how new biodiversity corridors are being created, and these can be mapped and found on Google Earth. And so I was really excited that everybody has a mobile phone and a browser, and they could start to zoom in into the areas that they planted and really see the change. And so we've created inadvertently, and by plan, also the world's first observation Earth artwork. The project is certainly expanding and it's taken off really virally. What we've been able to create is actually a movement, and the movement is known as plant graffiti. So we're starting to tag the Earth specifically so people can find their own plantings and start to self-monitor their own community resilience. As a Rise 25 honoree, I'm really humbled and privileged because the work I do is within climate through the visual arts, but it's often with community. So you take that community with you as you speak about them as well. You don't need necessarily large income investment. If you have people that have the energy, the enthusiasm, that are willing to listen and we're in exchange, you can do things that are really quite extraordinary. And that is probably the best thing that you can hope for as we tackle the larger questions of climate.